We're talking about WhatsApp Business, why I think you should use it, some of the mistakes to avoid that I unfortunately made when I started using it, and what else you should need to know in order to get started. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Well, WhatsApp Business is one of those things that many people have heard of, but actually, when I speak to many business owners of the dozens and dozens of people that I currently coach, many of them don't use it. They're either just using their personal WhatsApp account or they just don't use WhatsApp at all for the business purposes. And the problem really arises where you get this crossover between, you're sending people messages on WhatsApp, it's going into your personal stream and it's getting mixed up with all your personal stuff. And it can be hard to sort of separate the two and to be able to stop the distractions of you getting distracted by your personal messages when you look at your business and vice versa. When you're trying to relax, and look at your family messages, whatever, then suddenly something from your business pops up. And keeping them all mixed together is a bit messy and it's not very professional, in my opinion. But it's what I used to do until I thought better of it and moved over to business. And doing this is one of those things which is really easy, but there are some things to think about before you go ahead. And I'm going to talk about those over the next few minutes. So I'll talk about why you need it, what is WhatsApp Business, and also how to set it up without using your personal number, and in fact without needing to buy a second phone or think about paying for a second SIM in your phone if you've got dual SIM or the likes of it. So we'll go into all of that now. All right, so I've mentioned a few of these, or I've covered a few of these points here about why I think using WhatsApp Business is a really good idea. One of the key things for me is that separation of work and personal life and being able to actually switch one or the other off at will. So when I'm at work, I don't actually want to get distracted by things that aren't, super important for my personal life. But likewise, when I'm in my personal zone, so whether that's weekends or evenings or whatever on holidays, I really don't. I want the ability to be able to switch off, distractions from work. And having, therefore, those two things separate, as in the two different numbers for work and personal, is a really big step towards that for many people. And for me, for nearly 20 years, it was all in one number. And then I made the decision to actually split that out. And I still haven't quite got to the point where I wish I got. I'm just in the process of doing that. And I'll explain what I mean now in a few seconds. But the key thing here is about having that ability to move your business into business and your personal into personal without sharing the number. And there are some ways you can do this. So you can do what I've done, and I've got a second SIM in my phone. And that's actually because I lived in Sweden. So I bought a Swedish SIM card, put it into my dual SIM phone, and now I have two numbers. And what I did wrong, the mistake I made was I actually used my second number, which is actually a personal number, even though it's sort of not the main personal number, which I use for WhatsApp personal, but it's still a phone number I use in Sweden for personal use. And I use that to set up my WhatsApp business account. So it means that my WhatsApps are separate. So I've got a business WhatsApp, which is just for business, and that's on my Swedish number. And it's also, and then I've got my English number, which is for just my personal WhatsApp. But it means I'm sharing my personal Swedish number with all of my business clients. They could, in effect, ring me directly to my mobile. Maybe I'm happy with that. Maybe I'm not. That's up to you to decide. But I've also noticed a few of my Swedish friends now popping up on my Swedish business WhatsApp account. And it's now starting to get a bit blended together and confused. So I'd highly recommend you not doing that, because it's really easy nowadays to actually create a new number for very little money, very little monthly investment, and have that completely separate and completely independent of any device or SIM card or anything. And I'll cover how to do that in a minute, but that's what I recommend you do. So you set up a virtual number and use that for your WhatsApp business. And the benefits of doing that way are that A, it's not linked to a device or phone. So it's not actually a SIM or an eSIM in your device. So it's run from an app. That means you can then port that to any device you want very easily, including things like your computer, your iPad, or your tablet, your phone, whatever. And it also means if you've got staff, then you can actually get them to use the mobile version to actually log in and actually access things as well, into that phone number we're talking about now. And then you can link a business WhatsApp account to that phone number, and then you can then access the WhatsApp business through that as well. You also, other real advantages of using a WhatsApp business are that you can use it for businessy type things. So what I mean by that is that you can add it to your Facebook account. You can add it to your LinkedIn account, I think. You can put it on your website. So a little like chat with me now via WhatsApp on your website. And it then pops up and you then get messages directly into your WhatsApp account from these plugins or these pop-ups or these widgets on your various social media or websites or whatever. So it gives people an extra like convenient way to message you on something you're already using, rather than having to go and set up a chat bot or a widget that you have to have a third-party program for. You've already got WhatsApp probably on your phone. Upgrading to business is free, I should have mentioned as well. And if you just set it up, like I said, on a different on a virtual number, then it's very little work involved. You don't have to manage another bit of software. You're used to using WhatsApp anyway. It's a natural way for you to communicate if you're currently using WhatsApp. And so it's just a convenient for you, convenient for the person as well, because it's just basically on their phone, so they can just WhatsApp you as well and carry on that conversation very easily. So it's sort of a convenient way to actually start and continue conversations with your clients. And again, with the business version, you can also use it within automation. So within things like chatbots, you can actually integrate it into WhatsApp. And for many CRM automation tools, you can actually send automatically WhatsApp messages based on actions that happen, or maybe someone visits your page for the second time. You can actually send them an automatic WhatsApp message to say, hey, just seen you've landed on my page, whatever, and spook them out a bit, but in a good way, to actually encourage them to jump on a conversation with you. So you can use it for anything you can think about for sending a text message or an email. In a typical automation scenario, you can actually integrate a WhatsApp business account and therefore have that another channel of communication with your potential clients or with your existing customers to give them customer support. And so another advantage of WhatsApp Business over WhatsApp Personal is the ability to link it to multiple devices simultaneously without the need for your main sort of phone or your main account to be actually logged in. So back in the day before I moved over to business, as I said, I used my WhatsApp Personal for business use. And I used to get my staff to actually check some of my messages for me, reply on my behalf, etc. But in order for me to do that, I'd have to link their computer. At the time it was WhatsApp Web. It's now an app on their computer, and I'd link that to my device. And I'll talk about how to do that in a second. But the idea was that they would then be able to log in on my behalf, then send messages. Now, the problem arose that it often logged itself out, because if I logged out on my phone, or I was, I think even if my phone was off, if I remember correctly, they wouldn't be able to then access my WhatsApp account via their version. Have to wait for me to log back in and to re-authenticate it. So it's a bit annoying, consistently having to log people back in, which is a pain. And with WhatsApp Business, as I said, you can link up to 4 devices. You can name those devices. You can see, I've got one, for example, like Judy, one for JJ, one for Von, and I can actually see who it is that particular link is for. And then obviously, if that person left the company or whatever that need it for their role, I can actually go through and delete that particular link, and therefore they can't access my account anymore. So it's super easy, super convenient. And the other really big thing, I was talking about before about separating your communication for having that ability to be undistracted. Well, it's even more important when you're thinking about actually delegating the responsibility of managing your WhatsApp messages to a member of staff, because ultimately you want somebody, in my business anyway, I want someone to manage my business messaging. I don't necessarily want them to see all my personal stuff, like from my mum or from my mates. And so I want to keep that totally separate. And therefore, by actually having the WhatsApp Business, it allows me to do that from a practical point of view of actually outsourcing my messaging, or my message management, I should say. Cool. So finally, just want to jump in now really to how you actually do this. I've alluded to some of this before, but just a couple more sort of practical tips really. So use a new number for this. You have to get a new number and set up a WhatsApp account, a WhatsApp Business account on that new number. There's a few ways you can do that. So You could just buy a new SIM card for your phone if you've got a dual SIM or get an eSIM. But as I said before, then you're limiting it to actually being stuck on a device. Nowadays, you can actually get a virtual number much cheaper than getting actually a SIM deal normally from a mobile phone provider, a network provider. People like Twilio, for example, is one that I know that you can do this with. I actually do mine through my Go High Level CRM account. Pretty early days for me with that CRM, but it has allowed me to register a number and then register for that as a business WhatsApp on that new number. It costs about that was about $1.30 a month or something like that, so about £1 a month if you're in British pounds, and that's peanuts, for a new number. You get charged, a nominal amount for calls and messages. It's pretty competitive when you compare it to. I know many accounts have like unlimited, bundles and whatever. But for the cost of the line rental being so low, I can afford to actually spend quite a lot before I get anywhere near hitting the sort of like the typical subscription on a typical mobile phone card number. So it's relatively cost effective, and you can get a new number. And the great thing is that's not linked to any device, so you can use it on any computer, any app in the world. You can share it. You can add different users. You can have a multiple number set up. So all like syncs and round robins if you want. There's loads of cool things you can do when you get into the world of virtual numbers. It's great if you're using remote staff and you're wanting them to either make outbound calls or take incoming calls. And you want to then also do things like record your calls within the apps to be able to do quality control, etc., and for training for your team. And all this stuff, and actually, track like when those calls are made to who, and actually trigger automations based on the call outcomes, and all that sort of fancy stuff can be done once you start getting into virtual numbers and moving your business communications away from your personal mobile device and into a business virtual number based, which you can then link to your CRM automation tool. As I said, you can add a WhatsApp number to it, a WhatsApp account to it, and so it becomes pretty integrated. You don't have to do all this at once, by the way. Just get your number, get started, stick it on WhatsApp, off you go, bang, and then you can think about all this other fancy stuff later. But this, and then when you come around to actually sharing access, and I've not actually shared access. I've just realized as I'm saying this, I've not shared access to my new WhatsApp business account on my Go High Level account, because it's literally just happening as we speak, or just happened as we speak this week. But I have WhatsApp Business, as I said, on my phone, and this is the way that I link my WhatsApp Business or get my staff to access my WhatsApp Business on my phone. If you've gone down that route, if you're using the virtual number, although I haven't tested this personally, I just like to put that out there. But they now will be setting up a user on my CRM, and they'll access that number, that WhatsApp account through the CRM. So for this, what I'm going to describe now is if you actually got the WhatsApp Business on your phone, on an eSIM or a dual SIM or whatever, on a separate phone, then this is how you link it, or you give access to your staff. It's super easy. You basically get them to share their screen when they're trying to log in on the app, the computer app, into WhatsApp. And then it comes with a QR code. You scan that QR code with your phone on the Zoom call with the screen share, and then that person can then automatically logs in, and they can then access your WhatsApp Business account. It's that easy, basically. Cool. So I think that's about it, really. And just a bit of a summary, really. Like, setting up WhatsApp Business is super easy. It's free to do as long as you've got a second number. Setting up a second number costs peanuts, and it's super easy to do using virtual things like Twilio. If you do use a WhatsApp Business account, it means you can use it into integrations and automations. You can stick it onto your website, onto Facebook, and all the rest of it. You can also delegate that to your team far more easily and effectively and securely. It also removes all that distraction of you getting all of the personal message and business messages all together. And in my opinion, it's just a bit of a no-brainer, really. It's pretty simple to do, and something that you should definitely think about if you're not already doing. This is the kind of stuff that we cover in our Unified Inbox Management training, which is all about how you outsource your communications to virtual staff or remote staff, or just staff in your office, even about how you do that in a really managed and sustainable way that allows you to actually keep control over what is said and by who and when, etc., but without you having to do it all yourself. So feel free to reach out via the website, which is www.systemizeyoursuccess.com, and find the link to our main website, systemsandoutsourcing.com, and there's a button on there to book a call with me if you want to have a chat about that, or jump on our webinar and learn more about creating systems to remove you from the day-to-day running of your business. All of that and much, much more on our website. If you found this useful, please do leave us a review, give us a few stars. 5 is always nice. Hit us up with your friends and get more people to listen to this podcast, whether you're seeing this live on YouTube, in which case, please hit subscribe. You're listening to it on Facebook or on the actual podcast app itself. Do hit subscribe and catch all the future and past episodes, of which there are many. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Take care.